Well, hey, it's Matt Steen, co-founder of Chemistry Staffing, and this is another chemistry conversation. And today I'm pretty excited because we've got a new member of our team joining us. So Justin Woelk is a church coach, but he also serves as the online campus pastor at North Metro Church in Marietta, Georgia. And so one of the cool things about being, the team that we pulled together is not only are we a bunch of, guys that are working outside the church, but we've got so many practitioners that get what's going on in the church. And so, today I'm just excited to hear what Justin's learning about ministry right now and what he sees churches just kind of needing to be aware of in the days to come. So Justin, thanks for doing this, man. Thanks for having a conversation.
The pleasure's mine. I really appreciate you letting me do this and trusting me with this. So I'm excited just to see where we can go, and hopefully we can maybe help some churches and get some thoughts going for them, and maybe even bring some comfort to them where they're at.
Yeah, and along the way, try not to get fired too, right?
Always. That's always a key. Yeah. Don't say anything that'll get you fired.
Exactly. So cool, man. So tell me, what do you learn about church now? You've been doing this online ministry thing for about approximately forever. What do you learn now?
It's not going to go away. I'll tell you that. Online church will never go away. While COVID, it's funny how we use that as like a thing now. The COVID time. While COVID made it so important for a season, what it really did is it accelerated the need for it, because what it's going to allow the local church to do is it's going to reach those people that are never going to step foot in your door. And church leaders are going to have to be okay with that. That's probably getting ahead to one of your other questions, but church leaders are going to have to be okay with, there are some people that don't feel comfortable or don't want to walk in your door, but they do want to connect with the local church. And online is that vehicle, and online is that front door. At North Metro, we have people within our local community that watch every single week, let alone people across the United States and even other countries. So it's fascinating. And so not only do you get those people who are uncomfortable, just because people are like, hey, this is how I want to do church. And they're not just pressing a button and watching, they're engaging, they're finding community. So I would say that to church leaders is, I apologize if that's not what you want to hear, but if you think about the generation that's coming behind you, and I'm 36, and I know the generation behind me, I'm telling you, it's not going anywhere. That's probably the first thing I would say.
Nice. So now you're an online campus pastor, right? And so I think we're, most churches are just figuring out what the difference is between a campus pastor and a normal pastor or something like that. So you're generation removed from that. So as churches are thinking about doing this online thing, when they're looking for an online campus pastor, what's different about you, Justin, that may not necessarily be, different, as the campus pastor different? You know what I'm asking?
Sure. No, if you want the real difference about me, we don't have time for that. You don't want to get into personality profiles and all that silliness, because I'm weird and I know it. Yeah. So the lack of a better term, they're actually really similar, other than the fact that I don't have a building. So most campus pastors, they have some type of lead or senior pastor that tends to be the main teacher that they usually pipe in somehow. And that campus pastor is the local extension of leadership there for the staff and for the people, right? Same thing. Every single Sunday, people get to connect with me, see me. I host every single Sunday morning online. I'm welcoming people. I'm chatting with people. I'm praying with people, but they see our lead pastor teaching. I know we have a teaching team, but our pastor, Rob, teaches majority of the time. Now, I think the biggest difference at this exact moment is I don't have any staff, but I do have a team, and we got to work out schedules for shoots and film and video, editing, all of that. And they work so hard. So while, yes, I don't oversee a children's director and a next gen director. I know some churches who do. I know some churches who have said, hey, if we do it in person, we're going to do it online. And they've made that clear distinction, and you have that. So I think the idea is seeing the online pastor as someone who does have legitimate leadership and legitimate authority, and they are reaching a unbelievable generation or group of people that you wouldn't consider. Now, while some people back in the day, so to speak, would want to make an appointment, come see the pastor, mine happens right here.
Yeah,
all the time. all the time. 9:00 at night, it happens. Sometimes I will wake up in the morning, text messages or voicemails, cancer, COVID, divorce, discipleship, all of it. And I also have the chance to lead some online groups. So the gambit's kind of crazy, in my opinion, from a campus pastor standpoint.
Yeah. Wow. Always on, huh?
Yeah, always on. That's it.
I mean, more so than anybody else, because that content's always out there, and you're responsible for, helping disciple people that are engaging at different times than normal, right?
Different times and different stages of spiritual journey and different cultures. I mean, within our own country, it's fascinating, the stuff you get to learn and be a part of.
That's cool. So as you're kind of looking around at the landscape and kind of gazing off into the horizon, what do we need to be aware of? What are you seeing coming at us that maybe sometimes we're not seeing as a church?
Wow. All right. So today's May 7th, 2021. So we're going to see if these words come back to haunt me or not.
Yeah.
I had the chance last week, Matt, to sit in the room up in Atlanta, Georgia. I now live in Augusta, Georgia, but in Atlanta, Georgia, I got to sit in the room with some unbelievable leaders across the country. I was shocked. I'm to some degree, I was kind of like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And the conversation was, the church is forever changed. Forever. Mm-hmm. And while the primary conversation that day was around home gatherings, home church models or home gathering models, not exclusive, not that that's the only way to do church, but that was a big piece of the content. I believe throughout that room, other leaders, we all kind of agreed that the church has to have a multi-pronged approach from now on.
Yeah.
And this is my opinion. I think there's some other ones you could put in there, but these are my three. I would say the church has to have a three-pronged approach. One, you still have your Sunday morning. Obviously, I don't think we're ever going to need to get away from that. I don't see how. It might change, shift, but I think it's still going to be there. Two, I do think there needs to be a home gathering model for every church. I think every church right now should be pursuing a home gathering model underneath the umbrella of their church. It kind of meets that need of small groups, but it empowers people to be a local pastor for their neighborhood. And we can unpack that more in a minute with one of your other questions, probably. And then the third thing is, I would say a multi-purpose building. So I do believe no longer are the days where the church is only going to be, hey, we have a Wednesday night service and a Sunday night, and that's when you come into our building. Our buildings need to be used to do good in our community every day of the week. And it just happens that a church community gets to gather in there. That's what I believe. If that, to answer your question top level, which people might be mad about, that's my honest way of answering that.
Very cool. And so this is the stuff that excites me, because this is like, we weren't doing this 5 years ago. A lot of us weren't doing this 3 years ago, but that just the radical shift over what church has looked like over the last, this is getting me excited and kind of making me wonder, what's going to do all this, right? So
right.
So a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to be saying, that's great, wonderful. How do I get there? And the answer isn't always, we need to hire somebody, because where do people start? What encouragement would you give a pastor that's saying, I want to do that, but now what?
Matt, that's a great question. And I love that you're asking that. And I getting convicted out. I want to answer that right now.
You're welcome.
Just start somewhere.
Okay.
Pastors, this is not a shot at pastors. I'm a pastor. I'm having a vulnerable conversation that I hope pastors can relate to. We have a tendency sometimes to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. That's your people get tired of that. Your people get tired of hearing the next new thing, or we're going to do this. Just show up at a meeting one day and say, we've got to try home gatherings. We've got to put eggs in this basket. Not every egg, but we've got to put eggs in this basket. Yep. We're either going to bring someone in, or we're going to reassign somebody or two people. Please don't always put it on one person. That's a lot. Yeah. And go after it. Don't slow down for 18 months. For some reason, we have this tendency. I'm saying I'm guilty of this too, of coming in. We did something for a semester, maybe two. And maybe it didn't hit the exact numbers we were expecting, or something new comes along, so we move on.
Yeah.
So that would be my first question to you, or my first answer to you, is that the how is to just do it. Say, we want to get a multi-purpose building, or we want to do home gatherings.
Right.
Do it. Go after it, and don't slow down for a minimum of 18 months, and then truly evaluate it then.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So 18 months, that's a long time in the digital age.
Yep.
When that 18-month conversation comes up, I mean, what should we be looking at? What should we, how should we evaluate whether we've been successful or not? That's a loaded question. You weren't expecting that. You're welcome for that.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's shameless plug if they get to contact chemistry about how we can help them, right? But I think the real way I would answer that is, did you see people encounter the message of Jesus that you weren't seeing before? Let's have an honest conversation that, again, is probably going to come back on me. As pastors, we have a hard time sometimes being like, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. How many times have you heard that in your life, Matt?
Right.
So we're all, complaining could be a strong word, but we're always talking about, we don't have enough leaders. We don't have enough volunteers. Okay. Well, go empower, literally train 6 people in your community right now to do church in their homes. Throw them a $50 stipend a month, or a $50 Publix gift card, or Kroger gift card, or whatever's near their house a month, and tell them, hey, we are resourcing you and we believe in you reaching your neighborhood. And you might find out that on a Thursday or a Friday night, they got a tent and they had a smoker and they had like a big screen TV and they had a cul-de-sac party. That's huge.
Yeah.
Your neighbors, in the name of Jesus, just reach their neighbors unlike ever before.
Yeah.
So that's how we have to evaluate it. And I've heard, I don't want to get too lost in the weeds. I've heard a lot of leaders say this. I'll be careful. I've heard a lot of leaders say this, is that we have to stop measuring attendance and giving as the only 2 measures of growth or the health of a church. That's it.
That's cool.
That's a little more than you were expecting and a little ambiguous. That might come back on us, but I'm willing to take those questions if needed.
Oh, good, man. Well, Justin, one of the things I want to do is down below, we'll have your contact information, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be saying, okay, we need to figure this out. What I appreciate about the work that you're doing, and even the work that you're doing here in chemistry, is, you're going to help people find their youth pastor and their worship pastor and their lead pastor and all that kind of stuff. But you bring a skill set that, frankly, is kind of limited in the church, having done the online campus work, having done so much in the digital space. And so what I love about having you join our team is, you bring that expertise, but you also bring the ability to be able to come alongside of a church that's struggling with this and saying, hey, let's talk about your first step towards leaning into online campuses and getting people, outside of the building and kind of thinking through that stuff. So thank you for that. We'll have Justin's contact information and a link to be able to get on Justin's calendar down below and anything like that. But before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom that you would like to cast asunder to the people that are watching this?
Yeah, man, I think I would think of 2. One is right to the point, and the second one's a little longer. But the first one I would say is, don't just stream your service. Please don't just stream your service. I don't care if you have to put one person on a chat feature. Make it personal somehow make your service personal online, please. And the second thing I would say, Matt, you and I actually talked about this a little bit earlier, is pastors, please be encouraged. Acts, obviously we all believe in scripture, and Acts tells us that we were put in the time frame that we were put in for a reason. God has placed us within this time frame in this generation for a reason. Why you? Why me? Why now? Why in all the eras of the things that are going on? Why? Just be open-handed with that and be encouraged that God is still the same God, and he is moving in his church, and we just get the honor to be a part of that. So be encouraged. That's what I would say.
That's awesome, man. Justin, thank you so much. So
my pleasure. Thank you.
Grateful for your time and your work. And like I said, you can track down Justin's information down below. Love to be able to get you connected with Justin, just to, whether it's for a search or even just to kind of think through your online strategy. So